Hello and thanks once again for taking the time to download and listen to our podcast on CelticUnderground.net. I'm Harry Brady, and Harry Brady Jr., what do you say?
What a time to be alive.
In the deepest, darkest days of the early 1990s, I never thought I would see domination to such an extent that former Rangers players are chuffed to bits that the game only finished 5-1. So, I'm just in the door, and I've already recorded a podcast because we did the podcast on the journey home, so it's quite an illuminating by-them-in coverage of, if I borrow from Lawrence, of our journey home on the sights and sounds that we saw and our review of the game. So I'll leave it over. This is me, Harry Brady, chatting with him, Jim. I'm joined now by Jim, and sometimes we get, I've done a podcast straight after the game. This could not be more straight after the game because I'm actually in the car and it is 2:15 and the game has just finished. So Jim, how was that?
That was quite unbelievable. I don't think I would believe it unless I'd actually been there to witness it. In every department, we were faster, just said, we were fitter, and we knew the game plan. We knew absolutely how we were going to play in that game, and we absolutely destroyed that team more than any other game this season. We tore them apart. I think even more than the 6-2 game. I think I've never seen that level of superiority in a game against them, or in a game against any form of any team. Call her, get him off.
Any team at Ibrox. Honestly, there was a period there in the first half, it was shooty in. We were just taking shots. The thing is, Clint Hill was holding their defence together, and
was he playing?
And their defence was awful. Oh, it was amazing. So,
but with all those players, they wanted a Hollywood goal. Sinclair, those three chances, it could have been a beautiful, magical, wonderful hat trick. But just to put one of them in would have been great.
Do you know, I sent a couple of texts to people at 2-0 saying, if we get a third before half time, this is their Dallas game. Because you could, when the guy came on, did you see the guy coming on the pitch? Because all I saw at that, what I saw was people making a noise. I then looked up and I saw there was a Rangers fan very close to Brown. Brown didn't see me backing down. And then the thing about it was, he was at, is that the Govan stand? That one? Whatever it is. I don't know. The stewards all had to come from the main stand.
Yeah. The other guy was escorting them back into the crowd. Yeah. He was being escorted back into the crowd. But the three guys for the main stand, the old one, were charging over to try and lift him. But he was literally just escorted back.
So what did you see of it? Because as I say, I saw it at the point where the guy was 2-3 feet away from Brown, and there was another Rangers player there, and the referee was there.
Well, I just get in literally to see the penalty being taken, because outside was an absolute shambles. There were 3 turnstiles, 4 turnstiles, one of them was closed to get into the room lawn upper. So there were literally people being funneled into 3 turnstiles. And then after the match had kicked off, they closed another one of them. So I'm sure there'll be some people listening who were there. Literally, the police are there, and from inside, they closed a turnstile. Still thousands of people try to get into the ground, and there were 2 turnstiles for them to get into.
You and I arrived together.
Yeah.
And I left you, I left you 20 minutes before kick-off.
Yep. And I went straight in the queue. Yep. And I got in to see the penalty being scored. I heard 2 roars. I thought it was a sending off. I thought it was a tackle.
So can I ask you about the first potential penalty claim then?
No, I'm afraid not.
Inside the first minute?
No.
Do you know there was a first penalty claim?
No.
Inside the first minute, or minute and a half, Griffiths was through, and they had a sliding tackle. I think Griffiths claimed for handball, and then there was a bit of a claim for because Sinclair was down, and ended up the ball came back to Gordon, and Gordon booted it out of play because Sinclair was down needing treatment in the box.
Yep.
And so I got a couple of texts from people saying it hit his hand, but I think it was not even as much. I think it was just marginally different to the hitting Simonovic's hand at hand, so not a penalty. So yeah, if you only got in, so what did you say?
Well, I watched it at the top of the stairs, literally heard the roars, ran up, got to the top of the stairs, and saw Scotty lining up to take the penalty. So literally by the time I got to my seat, I had to ask somebody, at that stage, in the chaos, you don't count the players, but I thought somebody had been sent off. That was a double shout. And then somebody explained to me that he'd gone over and consulted.
I was a
linesman.
Well, he stood there, you could tell he was listening.
Who was the ref?
Beaten.
Right.
So he looked across as well. This is what it looked like to me. Roberts was going away from goal. So Roberts was going out of the box. Roberts was going towards you know how Roberts can then turn on a sixpence. So Roberts was going away from goal, and their left back chopped his legs away, clear foul.
In the box.
But because he was going away, there was a debate about whether the foul was in or outside the box, because it was just the momentum. He landed outside the box, but I was in the lower room lower, and there was a direct line, and to me it looked like he was in, and it looked like Beaton looked to the linesman. I don't think the linesman could give 100%, and I wonder whether he asked the fourth official, and all he would have been asking is, was it in or out?
Right. Yeah, because there was a big delay between the first cheer and the second.
So that was everybody knowing it was a foul and claiming for a penalty.
Yeah. But to be fair, if he does that, if he goes to the linesman, if he asks an opinion, and if he then consults the fourth official, I want that in the game.
Absolutely.
I want to see that. And if that means it's a penalty, great. If 3 or 4 of them decide that actually it isn't a penalty, fair enough, I'll take that too.
Yeah. So penalty, and then it wasn't the penalty goal that the guy then went and attacked Brown, wasn't it? It
must have been just it was just after that. It was just after that, because that's when, by that time, I got to my seat and I saw the 3 stewards charging across the pitch, and that's what brought my attention to the guy in the park being escorted back.
Well, excuse
me, sir, I think you're in the wrong place. Let me just show you to your seat.
I'd seen it, and the guy was on the park about a foot.
Can I just interrupt you here, as there's a boy with a big smile walking past us with a case of Budweiser.
It's just a coincidence. And
total coincidence.
It's just a coincidence. He just needed to nip out. So yeah, the guy was about a foot away, and there was a Rangers player there, and the referee was there, and then obviously other people start to see it, so your view's a bit obscured, and then you see the guy getting pulled away, and you're right, it looked like the steward was going to just put him back in.
Yeah, I assumed that's what happened. I didn't.
I then saw a policeman came down and took him off the steward.
Right, okay.
So
yep.
So there's that, and then there was the Griffiths goal. So you saw that one?
Yeah, superb. Yeah, absolutely saw that. That was great finish, great move. At that stage, I really couldn't believe it, that we were so on top, we were so dominant, and to see it took it well. I think the keeper got a hand to it, didn't he?
Yeah,
the keeper got a hand to it, but still went in. But great finish, and that's I want to see players scoring when they're in that position, because we had immediately after that we had 3 golden chances, to use a cliche. For Scotty Sinclair, I think, had all 3 of them.
Yeah.
And it felt as if he wanted to score a film star goal, a Hollywood goal, that volley, when there was no one else round about him, I think.
He could have taken it down.
Yeah, he could have, he had time to take it down and score, but, it sounds as if you're being critical.
No, but you were.
It could have been 4-0 up in 20 minutes.
You know that way, you've been in a pub or a nightclub or something, and you just sense that there's a feeling of menace within the place. There's nobody about, but you just think, I want to leave here because I think trouble could kick off at any minute. Although we're in our end, maybe it's just because I always think it just feels quite dark and gloomy in Ibrox. Yeah. Everything's just a bit more, there's just a more threatening vibe, I feel. Anyway, maybe that's just maybe it's just my culture of bias kicking in there.
You don't know enough about the place. Let's embrace it. Let's find out about our history.
No.
At that point, I was thinking, this could be their Hugh Dallas game. If we score a third now, they're going to do something. One of them is going to do something really, really dreadful if we score now.
What I could see, I was in the upper. What I could see, which you might not have been able to see, was that some of them were leaving by that stage.
Oh, we've just paused because there's a poor Alsatian. It's not in a good way, is it?
That's all. No, I think he needs a good seltzer.
Oh dear, he's tail sagging in it. Oh no. I'm not blaming the guy for not picking up.
No.
I don't think you could.
For a civilising influence on this side of the city, but not that much.
You'd have just smeared it into the pavement.
So at that stage, some of them were starting to leave. Getting pelters, that's a great thing. The rage was great, and they were getting pelters from the other fans in that stand opposite the main stand.
Yeah,
you could see them literally, had enough, and it was that level of dominance, which they were obviously seeing the level of dominance.
They knew they were being humiliated.
Yeah,
it wasn't just that we were winning; they were being humiliated, and it was inevitable that we were going to score more goals.
Totally, and that, this was before those 3 golden chances.
Aye, and in the dark days, what a time to be alive. Did you ever think in the 9 in a row?
No.
That you'd be witnessing this level of complete and utter domination about everything. But in those dark days, you experienced similar to the reverse, and you then have the dilemma between the fans who are, I'm not watching this, I'm off, and the other fans who, you don't do that in front of them. And you have that, conflict.
You have to stay there. To the extent, I don't know if you saw the guy at the end, the guy in the red golf. He refused to leave until we left. Yeah. And he's putting the scarf up, and he was so staunch. He was staunch, and this was ripping it out.
Actually, the guy in front of me is getting all annoyed, and I said, fair play to the guy. He has just sat through his team being utterly humiliated and has decided that...
Paul's coming to deal with the Alsatian.
Yeah. You didn't pick up the shite. I thought my wing mirror was gone there. There we are. Live action updates. It's transport police. Oh, that's for the trains. That's transport police. There you go. Live update, a police car. There's a pillar on the side of the pavement here, so it's a bit difficult for him to get past. There you go. Now he's stuck. Can't get out on the road. But I said to the guy, fair play. The guy's only way to salvage any pride for himself out of the day is to say that I left the ground after they did.
Yeah, totally, because he's one of the people. What else could the poor guy do? He had to stay there. A sense of staunchness and righteousness and being one of the people meant that he had to stay. So he had to stay to witness the groundsman walking slowly over to the penalty spot. And I don't know how much of this was covered on telly, but at the end of the game, when all the players came up to the Celtic end, and by the way, just in passing, there were 4 or 5 Celtic players, Liam Henderson, Mackay-Steven. It was great to see them in the stand. I know they do that regularly there, but it was great to see them in there. But also, going tonto when all the players came over. So the players came over to the Celtic end, big celebrations, and Lee Griffiths got the scarf, and everybody's expecting him to tie it around the goalpost. We're all expecting the goalpost, and he walks past the goalpost. There's a big like the Billy Connolly joke. Ivan terrible. Did it happen? So he takes the scarf and he lays it down at the penalty spot.
It was magic.
It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful moment. And then somebody had thrown on a big inflatable bottle of champagne. Yeah. So Lee Griffiths, the sight of Lee Griffiths with a double magnum, what are they called, a Jerry bomb, or a refusal of champagne. I'm a Chinese.
You know your champagne better than me, Jim.
I'll be knowing it tonight. And he got the champagne bottle, this inflatable champagne bottle, and he's trying to balance it not just on top of the penalty spot, but on top of the Celtic scarf on top of the penalty spot, the ruffled Celtic scarf. So he's tried for 10 seconds to balance this thing, and he failed. And so the the champagne, Jerry Bomb, whatever, rolls away, and then at the end, Mr. Staunch has to witness the groundsman walking slowly up and picking up the Celtic scarf, and with his fork in hand, he then goes to the inflatable champagne bottle, and we're thinking, he's going to fork the bottle. He picks it up and cradles the bottle. It was a beautiful moment.
He's a secret Tim. But there was a point there where I almost, it was almost a spiritual moment. I was almost in tears at just the joy of thinking of the times when you'd been through crap, and now we were experiencing this performance.
Well, that's why you go through those days. It's why you stay. It's why Mr. Staunch stays. You know, because it will come right again.
Tell you what, though, Mr. Staunch, they've got a disaster on their hands for season book sales. I mean, going for 5-1 is hardly a slogan they can. It's hardly a slogan for season book sales. I mean, we won 5-1 in what was the sixth game of the. It was the sixth. I was going to say on the fifth victory.
I've forgotten about that. Aye, of course, yeah.
It's our fifth victory. It's our fifth victory of them of the season that we got the 5-1. So they did get 55. They got 2-5. They got 5 against them on the fifth victory.
In the moment and in the ecstasy of today, I completely forgot that link, that connection with the previous 5-1. But it could have been, a 5-1 game. 5 was maybe a fair score. Could maybe have been 5-2 or 6-1. But it was just about right. Today was 8-9 territory.
Absolutely.
The last 20 minutes, we were passing the ball and giving it the Olays. We were in game management or thinking about the next game, injury prevention, all of that. We could have gone on and hammered them, but there was no need to. We weren't tackling, we were pulling out of tackles, and there came a point you thought they scored, and that was disappointing. But then, for us to be able to score again was tremendous. We'll probably get to that in a minute, but the way we handled that last 20 minutes was really professional, I thought, and made me think, Brendan's going for the unbeaten run.
Absolutely.
He wants this. And
also, do you know what? I think Brendan's enough of a Celtic fan that Brendan wanted to humiliate them on their own patch.
Yep.
I absolutely believe that.
To the extent of bringing Bruni off right at the very last minute to make sure Bruni got the ovation.
There was a bit when Lustig played. I didn't think it was a bad opportunity. The ball broke to him. There was somebody up front, can't remember who it was, and he tried to play a quick ball through. And if it had got through, then whoever it was would have been clean through on goal. But it was intercepted. It was, it was a Hail Mary pass type thing. It was intercepted. And I noticed that Brendan was going nuts for him not to just pick out the Celtic player and play the way that we play football. And that, when I saw that happening, I thought, you want to win this game.
Yeah.
Playing our way.
Yeah.
The way that we've destroyed teams this season. That's what you're wanting to do. I mean, see,
they wanted to pay homage to the players who done that today also.
Yes.
When he took Roberts off, that ovation for Roberts. That was talking of emotional moments. That was a really emotional moment. He took 5 minutes to get off the park, which was nothing to do with time wasted. It was just the sheer scale of that ovation they received.
Yes.
It was really, really heartwarming.
And at half time in the cup semi-final, I remember having a debate with, my brother and my dad, and, could they come back into what could they do to come, because you're thinking, are we going to go on here, or is there any way that they can stop this? And you're debating about, well, maybe they could do this or maybe they could do that. Oh, here's another one. But today you weren't. Today I wasn't. Today I was just thinking, we're going to score another couple of goals at least in the second half.
Yeah,
there was a different type of dominance. The cup semi-final, we were dominant because we were just so comfortable in possession. It's almost as if Brendan took the players aside after the cup final and said, that was brilliant, you dominated. However...
Yeah, there always has to be a however with Brendan.
However, you weren't clinical enough.
Yep.
I want you to annihilate them.
Yep. And that reminds me of Alex Ferguson and that famous time when he beat them in a cup final.
That's right.
And went into the dressing room and absolutely lacerated the team.
Mm-hmm.
I think Willie Miller talks about it. He goes in, the manager comes in, and they expect to be, ruining his best suit with champagne, and he get absolutely tore into them.
Yeah.
For an unacceptable standard to play and beating them in a cup final, because that was where he wanted to take his team. And for me, there are parallels with Brendan, because Brendan wants to improve. So after the draw at our place, he then started. He must have gone and looked at him in the backroom team, because that's the other thing. I think the backroom team at the club do need to a big shout out to, because they must have worked so hard to get the team to this level, and looking at how that draw couldn't happen again.
Absolutely. I managed to speak with someone in Celtic this week and said, so, because your only concern going into this game was, my only concern, might not be anybody else's, everybody else might be saying I'm talking shite, my only concern going into this game was remembering the Hampden season, where they came to Hampden champions and we beat them 3-0 because they couldn't have cared less.
Yep.
And I was thinking, I think our most complacent we have been against them has resulted in a draw. And if our most complacent is a draw, I don't think Brendan will do that again. I think Brendan also learns from an issue once and doesn't do it again. But the only other thing I was thinking was, so you're preparing for them. Cassinia's not been in charge that long, so you're not getting to see how,
He's not going to be in charge for very long.
You're not getting to see 2 or 3 different versions of a Cassinia team to know, well, see if he can't do this, he does that. And so I managed to get to speak to someone. I said, you see your point about the backroom team. Do you think Cassinia will play with the team that started against in the cup final, or the team that finished the cup final? Oh, absolutely. We think he'll go with the team that finished the cup final, and he more or less did. Clint Hill came in, but pretty much Windus, because my memory is Windus came on in the cup final and do.
Yeah, he was. I don't know if he was effective, but he was more of a threat.
Do you know what though? What he wasn't,
apart from Miller, perhaps,
he wasn't effective to do. Look at 3 Labour canvassers. Oh, it's solidarity, socialism, and equality. I'm sure they're getting lots of good responses in Govan today. So that's the big Dodo. The only time he went forward, he was offside. The ball kept getting played up and he kept being offside.
Yep. Yeah, he was nowhere, absolutely nowhere.
And then,
the defence were great. A couple of fantastic interceptions in that first half. Was it Simonovic interception?
Oh, the tackle on it was right in front of Beaton. The tackle on Miller. Miller goes up in the air and lands, and you are thinking, oof. The fact that it was right in front of Beaton and Beaton would play on, you knew that it must have been a fantastic challenge. I subsequently had a text from someone who told me that Andy Walker on the telly said that the ref should have, even though it was a good foul, the ref should have given a foul to Rangers to stop the Rangers players feeling incensed. Utter nonsense.
But that's what you come to expect. When they were given the who's the Fenian in the black, I assumed it was Kevin Clancy. I had no idea who the ref was. We're just passing the old Govan Arms, famous Celtic pub in Govan.
Yep,
tremendous. The boys in there do great stuff for charity as well. They give they're part funding the fresh food programme at Glasgow North East Food Bank.
Are they?
If I could just say that as we're passing the old Govan Arms. Well done, special.
Well done, Govan Arms.
Yep. But back to the defence.
I feel like this is a live radio broadcast, and I've just told the Govan Arms, and they're all in there going,
The outside broadcast unit, the Celtic Underground outside broadcast unit.
The Celtic Underground by the mid-commentary of my drive home.
In fact, just drop me here, listen, we found. But there was also on that, the Beaton decisions, there was that tackle when Waghorn went down, stayed down, and again the rage was strong from the other stands, and we went up the other end and we should have scored with Paddy Roberts. Paddy Roberts.
You do know also there's the rage factor amongst the loyal, staunch Huns will be ultra rage about Lywell and about how all our intimidation of the referees in the last couple of weeks has paid dividends, and that's why we got every 50-50 decision today. That will be the chat from them. Tough titty. See, even if that is the case, now they know how it feels to be Celtic. So, half time, what were you thinking?
I was talking to the guy next to me, and I felt it was being a bit greedy because I'd wanted 3 with the chances we'd had, but also, you've always got this thing that you think they're going to come back. No matter how dominant we were, you think, actually, they're going to get a chance.
Because Miller had that shot just before half-time, that just... Because I was hitting it, and the ball actually looked like it was going to maybe clip the corner of the post in the bar. Then it wobbled towards the goal and then swerved out away from the goal.
Yep.
And you were thinking, all you need is...
2-1, if it's 2-1, and again you've got this sense of fear and doom that they could come back, and it was based on nothing.
Absolutely
nothing. But we've been to so many games where they've got that. I was talking to the guy about the Tommy Burns, God rest his soul, era, when the number of games when we were so dominant and Gorham kept us at bay, and then they would score in the last 5 minutes. Yeah. And that was heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking, especially to Tommy's teams. But so today at half time, I felt, having gone through those days, I was being greedy and I wanted a third. Because at a third, they wouldn't have been in the game. Now, of course, they weren't in the game.
I was being greedy, I wanted 7.
By the end, maybe. But then we just continued in the second half. When Halliday came on, I thought, right, their tactics are going to change here, they're going to...
I definitely felt first minute or 2 of the first half you felt they've obviously been told you're standing watching Celtic play football. Because this is the other thing.
I thought though that there had been an intervention from a real Rangers man.
That's a real Rangers man. A real Rangers man.
About them.
Just boot one of them up the arse.
Yep.
Just boot them. Just give one of them a good kicking.
Yep.
You're standing letting them play football. In the first 2 minutes, in particular, they were a bit more physical, and obviously the loyal fans in the stands were getting excited, thinking something was going to happen, and then it just reverted back to the first half.
Totally. And to be fair to Beaton, Halliday was booked in the first 15 minutes of the second half, and there were a couple of occasions somebody tripped. Was it Kieran when he was away? Was it Paddy Roberts? And that. In any other day, that should have been a booking. It was a cynical, professional foul. It wasn't dangerous. It wasn't overly physical, but it was a booking. He didn't give that, and I don't know who the player was, but I thought he might have already been in the yellow. And that's the sort of decision you do want a bit of consistency in the game. Again, maybe I'm being greedy, but when we got that third, it was literally. Well, it was game over from
the third was a great goal, and we'd had a chance. McGregor had nearly scored not long into the second half. It was a great save by their keeper, just at the near post, at the main stand side post, his right hand side, tipped off for a corner. Third goal,
and there was also a shot. Was it before the third goal where I was behind it? I swore that Griffiths had scored. The ball it hit the net, and then it went behind, and it was rolling about, and I was jumping, and it wasn't a goal.
There was also, so I'm losing track, because when you're in such delirium, you lose track of time. There was
like a train spotting.
There was a brilliant shot by Armstrong. I think this was in some point at 3-0. There's a brilliant shot by Armstrong. I'm standing right behind it, and I thought, this is going in. I actually thought it was going in till the very, very last second. So McGregor...
a few free kicks as well, the Griffiths free kick.
Yeah, and McGregor scores. What a player McGregor... What a end to the season McGregor's having.
Did you see the pass? The McGregor pass? Again, you referred to there was a Hail Mary pass at some stage, but was it the McGregor pass when he was about the halfway line, and he swerved the ball straight to Griffiths. In fact, it was that Griffiths shot that I thought was the goal. What a pass. Fantastic. It might not have been McGregor.
He was always certain. I mean, it's one of the things last season under Ronnie Dyer that used to bug me or frustrate me, that people would give McGregor a hard time.
He's one of our kids.
And he played some, he would play some fantastic passes in a game, and they'd be ignored because of one mistake, one shoddy pass.
We were talking about that, and talking to the guy next to me again, and we're talking that, here's a kid coming into a Celtic midfield. There's Brendan reckons he's good enough to be in that Celtic midfield. I've always liked Callum McGregor, and I think, could he be a better player? Yeah, absolutely, he could be. He's a kid. You cannot. We do rush to judge. He covers our players.
Every blade of grass.
I mean, and he's a different option.
Yeah.
He's a direct player. He's got great footwork. He's prepared to take people on, but he's an intelligent, clever footballer as well. I really like that. I like what I see in his development in the last 3 months. It's just been staggering.
So my favourite goal of the game, because I had Boyata anytime scorer at 9-1.
No.
My favourite goal of the game, well, actually it's not my favourite goal of the game, it was my favourite goal of the game out of the first four, my fifth was my favourite, was Boyata's.
Was there a challenge to him?
No, I mean, I actually thought we had a chance of scoring every time the ball went into the box today.
Yeah, we were getting so much space in the penalty box. And it was a little bit disappointing actually that we didn't have more clear chances from set pieces. I know we took a few shots at set pieces, at Griffiths' free kick I referred to, but that one, it felt as if there was no challenge. I think I actually missed him heading the ball into the goal because everybody was already up celebrating. But great goal, and I'd love to see Boyata and Siminovic. I think Siminovic, could score more goals. But when they have defence, their centre backs are non-existent.
Did you notice at the end of the game when the players were starting to come down in Celtic again, Brendan called Simonovic and Boyata over?
Right, I missed that.
The two of them just together, and had a wee 2-minute chat just with the two of them.
Right.
At the end of the game, he was shouting them, and so they didn't go in with the group. So.
Do you think that was congratulatory, or was that tactical?
I don't. No, it was like after the final whistle. So I don't think it would have been anything. I don't think it would speak about tactics or anything at that point. I think it would have just been, you did a brilliant game today. I mean, the only thing.
But then, did you see when Kieran was injured, when Kieran was tackled, and for a minute we thought the worst, and he was getting up at that stage. Bruni, I think it was when was it 4-1 at that stage? Bruni and Brendan were having a big tactical chat.
Because it was just after they'd scored.
Yes, yep.
And I saw that because, again, it's not to sound as though we're being critical, but the only thing I did feel is, I don't know if that goal would have happened when Armstrong was on the park.
Yep.
They just did. There's a bit of it. We've dominated for so much. And we're 4-0 up. It's going to be a bit of relaxation and all of those types of things. So I'm hardly going to be critical of them. I just thought, it was, I'm sure they'll look at it and they'll think it was a bad goal to lose. So once they scored, all I wanted was we score one more goal so that we're leaving that game that we celebrated the last goal.
And what a goal. What a goal.
He just kept coming.
Pass it now. What are you doing? Pass it.
He kept coming and they kept standing off him and giving him the space.
And the finish, what a finish. And the big man just went completely radio in. Absolutely lost the plot.
I mean, the guy next to me said, apart from maybe Brown, you couldn't have wanted another Celtic player to have scored a goal because of the way that he is.
Yeah. Well, I was wanting Kieran to score. Being greedy, I wanted Kieran to score today. But yeah, the way he is, for him to score there and for him to score a goal like that,
he get booked.
Yeah, so I'm getting booked for it. Yeah, I couldn't.
He lifted his jersey over his face.
Was that the booking?
I think that's what it was for.
I thought it was for the old thing about encouraging the crowd to surge forward.
We encouraged the
crowd. It's only us in Motherwell who've ever been booked for that, as far as I can see.
But we encouraged the crowd at every goal today, including when Griffiths went and stood after his goal and stood at the corner flag so they could all see the amount of Coke cups, fucking words out on the side of the pitch. Because that's where we went to celebrate every goal.
and they were all lobbed on. I assume, right? What did Griffiths? After his goal, he went and handed something to somebody in the crowd. What was that?
Somebody chucked a mobile phone.
Right. Oh, really?
One of them had chucked a mobile phone at the Celtic players after they scored one of the goals. I had a phone, someone. Aye, this is Lee Griffiths. Fucking 4.
I've done a Lenny. Picked up the phone. Hello, I've got your son's phone here.
So there was that. Also on the big screen, there was 2 or 3 times. I mean, obviously this was Sky's pictures, where you just saw glum Huns.
Although, did you see there was a minute, I hadn't realised it was Sky's pictures actually in there. I thought it was their in-house telling. Which is why I should have gone down there, you bugger. Come out. Which is why I thought it was strange when they had Brendan. When we were singing Brendan Rodgers here for 10 in a row. One of the occasions we were singing Brendan Rodgers here for 10 in a row. There was just a big image of Brendan on the screen for 30 seconds.
Brendan's big face on the big screen at Ibrox. I'm sure that was.
And the Reds was strong again.
We're trying to, just so you know, we're trying to go down the Clyde Tunnel. We're looking round, and I missed the turn off. Too busy chatting. So there was that, and stop with the reverse.
And so, what do you think about Lustig? Do you think we're having a chat about how do we strengthen this team? Do you think Lustig is the right back? Because it's great, even when all the players came on at the end, including the subs. It was great to see Eric Sviatchenko getting so into it as well. And he's somebody, the guy next to me was a big admirer of him, saying, I like him. I know, he might not be the greatest centre-back, but he gets the club. He gets the club in the same way.
Yeah. Yeah, well, his sister does work with the foundation.
Yes, yep, she's an artist, twin sister.
Aye. So patently, the family get the club, actually.
Yeah, she's moved over. She's moved over to work... I know she's an artist, so she works in art, but funnily enough, but she also works with some of the young lads and the young women in the employability scheme in the foundation. And some of those images they produced again getting emotional. The image of Brother Wilfred painted by the kids turning their life around in the employability scheme, I thought was tremendous. So Eric gets it, but Lustig gets it so much, and seeing what that meant to him was great.
Do you know, if I was to look at I can see Lustig as at times a weak link, but I find it hard to say that we need it.
I find it really even hard to say that, and to hear that is given what the club means to him.
But you know the other thing about that, talking about, it just reminded me.
I can't be objective at this stage. I can't be objective.
The thing that was so shite about them, one of the things that was so shite about them is, so we play this system where we have a back 4 that pivots to a 3.
Yes.
With Kearney going up.
Yep.
And so
Kearney,
aye. Kieran Kearney.
TK.
I'm giddy.
This is without a drink.
That's not a drink. So you know what we do? Gordon gets the ball and we pass to those 3, and they then 3 pass about.
Well, there's been a couple of cases when he hoofed it.
Well, one of the things I was going to say is, so they do, and then we pass it about those 3, and they would decide to close us down, but maybe one of them would go, and so you could just pass it. I mean, I was, last week with his famous tumbler thing. Kushinia was talking about, the game was supposed to have closed down Lustig.
Do you think he'll be using broken glasses this time?
Absolutely. Now, to give straight on or where, just so the people listening can know, whatever. So now that we've just edited out Jim's address, directions home. Yeah, they just, you either close down or you don't close down, but you don't half-heartedly close down with one of you doing it or 2 of you doing it, which is what they did.
Yeah, what they did. Yeah. They didn't press. I couldn't see their game plan.
No, I couldn't see their game plan.
I couldn't see what had changed at all. It was just more of the same. And Miller's face couldn't be more orange and red or puce. He was raging with every one of them.
Absolutely.
Every single one of them he was giving pelters. And they were just looking at him thinking, actually, you know what? I'm not going to be here much longer. So give me all the pelters you want.
I said it's fairly obvious looking in. Coutinho is completely out of his depth. Patently what's happened is the re-interview team has gone, they've spoken to Barry Ferguson and John Brown and football thugs like that, and then they've gone and spoken to the suave, well-dressed Portuguese guy. He's foreign, sounds a bit sexy.
I bet he'd grow a great beard, by the way.
Aye,
that's double the desperate Dan stubble. He'd be a great hipster.
He would actually. He would. Maybe that's what he should do.
Maybe he's next
over the summer.
Because he'll have plenty of time in his hand by then.
But you just get the impression that they were. They thought, oh, this sounds this, and he's talked the talk. They've not looked at his CV. He has talked the talk, and they've thought, sexy football. This guy knows his stuff. This is our man. And then it's been. I had a conversation with a pressman at one of the post-match press conferences.
Of course, I keep forgetting at the draw that he was the manager.
Yeah,
that he was in the stand.
Yeah. The pressman didn't think he'd see past Christmas. I didn't think he'd see past the October week. I'm now unsure if you'll see the new season.
You've got to get a decent price. Back to your bookie bashing. You've got to get a decent price for him not being there for the first game of the season. Having to pay off somebody else. As well as off the team. No, sorry, off the team are on loan from Accrington Stanley. It's a guy in Radio Clyde told us. Not that we're Clyde listeners, but just about 5 seconds of pain.
We couldn't resist it when we got in the car. Because Radio Scotland now goes straight to covering the rest of Scottish football because they don't have any interviews at the game.
Yeah.
We going left here. Nobody knows where we are, Jim. No one. I'll take a picture and put it on Twitter. So I probably will bring the podcast to a close, only so that I can get full directions from this point on.
Aye, just here, driver.
And I will say, Jim, thanks very much. It's been a fun day.
It has been a very fun day, and I suspect the rest of the day is going to be a lot of fun as well, and tomorrow.
Right, cheers.
Cheers.
Game which was 5-1, and have a look at today's 5-1. It's a total different dynamic to the team. They understood all the elements and of how we wanted to play, and I think you've seen that in full flow today. It's a system that Rangers were playing that at the beginning, which is a diamond, and if you're not concentrated and not organised, you can get outnumbered and outpassed. But the players tactically were absolutely superb in the game, and obviously then when they had the ball and earned the right to get the ball, they were sensational really. So yeah, big difference in terms of the 5-1 at the beginning of the season to the 5-1 today, and a very comprehensive win. Only disappointment, we actually should have scored more goals.
You saw the frustration from yourself when Rangers scored. Is that just the standards that you expect?
Well, the players are performing. Yeah, it is when you concede a goal, and it does disappoint you at times, but that's just every coach and manager, I'm sure, will be the same. Because it's defensively in the game, we were absolutely superb. And sometimes it happens when you have that lead, you sometimes lose that little bit of possession, because naturally you just sit in and recover for a little bit. And Kenny Miller, in fairness to him, he's got himself in and finished it well. But yeah, for every other part of the game, we were outstanding.
Right from the start, in the first few seconds of the game, won the ball off Rangers, created a chance in the box then inside the first minute. That must, as a manager away from home, make you feel as if they're right on it.
Well, they are. I said when I came in that my job is to build a team that can go into any stadium without fear and play, and obviously this is one of the great rivals here for Celtic. So for us to come here and show that, and I think we had a couple of moments like the goal at the end typifies it. So our defenders defend forward, so be aggressive, step in and defend forward, and that's where the fifth goal comes from, with Mika stepping in, winning it, and then going and scoring like a winger or a centre forward. But you have to earn the right. Fundamentally in any game, you have to defend And how I like my team to defend is with that aggression and high level of pressing, and the players done it right the way through from the first to the very last minute. Their physicality in the game was top class.
I hope you enjoyed it, and good night and God bless.
Good night.